Hello and welcome to the Night Feed. I'm your host, Charlotte, here to bring you some comfort, camaraderie and conversation to keep you company during, let's face it, one of the toughest parts of being a new parent, the Night Feed. Tonight's unpaid sponsor is fireworks. Because nothing says relax, Mum, baby's finally asleep, quite like a series of deafening explosions outside your window at 8:47pm. Yes, thank you for celebrating Guy Fawkes with a 45-minute pyrotechnic display that has now woken the baby and my postpartum rage. Bonfire Night was always really lovely as a kid, I suppose, but as a parent, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? It really is a different kettle of fish. Luckily, my 3-year-old and 4-year-old quite like them and will watch them from the window before bedtime. And when they're going to sleep, they can kind of hear them, and we talk about them. And then the other night, I just had to put classical music on because I remember that's what they do for dogs, isn't it? They put classic FM on. So I put classic FM on in the room, and it actually really helped. So tip for all the parents living in the UK as we speak, tonight is Bonfire Night, the 5th of November. And if your kids really, really don't like them, I would put some classical music on when you put them down, because that seemed to really, really help. And yes, if you live in a city like me, it's going to be lively tonight. It's going to be lively, but we'll get through it. And if you're anything like up here where you live, they go on for like days and days and days, don't they? And there's probably going to be another big display at the weekend. And oh gosh, I'm such a ranter when it comes to fireworks now. I'm a mum. Have you ever thought about the full moon impacting your sleep and your mood? Because my mum is very holistic. She's into aromatherapy, Reiki, yoga, and she's very into energies and auras and that kind of thing. And she came over on Monday, and the last thing she said when she was getting in the car, she pointed up and she went, "Oh, full moon tonight." And I was like, "Oh yeah." That night, let me tell you, I'd forgotten about that comment. And it's only retrospectively when I'm looking back, we had the most chaotic meltdown at 3am. It was like everyone's moods had gone upside down. I had a meltdown because my poor baby boy's teething at the moment, and it's been like 2 weeks of very little sleep. And as a new parent, you'll know very little sleep takes you to the depths sometimes, doesn't it? And he will wake at the moment for between half an hour and 2 hours and generally need rocking throughout that time. I'm getting my steps in at 2am, let's just say. And you'll do anything for your baby. All I want to do is take the pain away. All I want to do is comfort him. It gets to a point though after 2 weeks where you are physically and emotionally drained, doesn't it? And Jason and I have been taking it in turns and sharing the load. But this one night, I just lost the plot. I was like, I'm so tired. Everything was bugging me. Even Jason trying to help was bugging me. Then our 3-year-old woke up and was in the bed jumping around, and it was just chaos. Chaos. It was the longest the baby had been awake for that stretch. And yeah, it was just one of those nights when you just don't want to relive it. It was like, oh my Lord. Anyway, the next day, we were having a bit of a debrief, as you have to as parents. And I said, oh my God, it was a full moon. So I went on ChatGPT and I was like, is the research that the full moon affects your energy and your moods? Because I've heard it interferes with periods at times. I've heard all these kind of suggestions that it affects the tidal energy, which I think it does scientifically, doesn't it? I don't know. If any experts, I'd love to have you email in or be on the podcast about this, because I find it fascinating. So I went on ChatGPT and it said, yes, the full moon can seem to affect moods, though the science is mixed on how much and why. So it said the sciencey bit is that research is inconclusive. Some studies find small links between the lunar cycle and sleep quality or mood, while others find none. One study in 21 suggested people may sleep slightly less and go to bed later in days leading up to a full moon. Less sleep equals crankier moods, so that may explain the connection. Yeah, there was definitely less sleep in our house on that night. And then it says hormones like melatonin and serotonin could be influenced by the moon's light, but evidence is still limited. And then it says the human side, many people, especially parents running on fumes, feel more emotional, restless, or sensitive around the full moon. Well, that is 100% backed by scientific proof from our household on that night. And it says some midwives and maternity wards even swear by busier nights during full moons. Again, not proven, but anecdotal. The symbolism of the moon, as in cycles, renewal, energy, peaks, can also amplify how we notice our own moods. So there you go. There is some anecdotal, some slightly scientific backing. I will give you the scientific backing that our household was, wow, upside down on that night, let's just say. I mentioned last week about teething at the very end of the podcast, and you lovely listeners sent me some great DMs and the odd email on teething. And I said I would share any remedies with you guys. So the top one by far was teething gel, which I actually haven't tried with baby boy yet. I've mainly been using the granules and Calpol when necessary, when he's really bad. But teething gel was a clear winner, so I'll be getting some of that today. And another one that came up a lot was teething toys in the fridge. There was a few on celery sticks and cucumber that's been in the fridge, but obviously my baby's only 5 months, so I can't use any food or any fruit or anything like that. We did used to have the little teething, they almost look like dummies with holes in, and I used to put frozen fruit in for the girls when they were older, which helped. But because he's not weaning yet, I can't use anything with food. But if your baby's older than 6 months and you are weaning, then celery and cucumber came up a lot. But obviously you have to be super careful, as those are choking hazards with small babies. So use them at your own peril. But they did come up a lot as great teething remedies. And I think there is something in celery that does provide a bit of pain relief. I've read somewhere for teething babies, but again, you have to be really careful with that. And then another one that came up was the amber necklace. Now, I have seen these over the years and I've always been a bit curious about them. Something that's prevented me is that I just completely panic about choking and strangulation with a necklace on a baby. That is just I just would worry about that. And I've again looked into the benefits of that, because it did come up a few times. And it said that parents who use them often say that they soothe teething pain naturally. Baltic amber contains succinic acid, which some believe is released through the skin when warmed by body heat and has anti-inflammatory or pain-relieving effects. And then it also says that parents have said it reduces drooling and irritability. Many report calmer babies and less fussing. And again, I have seen that quite a bit, that they are meant to be miracle workers for teething babies. But then the science and safety side, it says there's no scientific evidence that supports the claim that amber releases succinic acid or relieves pain when warm. Safety risks are real. Obviously, choking and strangulation are major concerns, especially if worn during sleep or unsupervised play. And the thing is from my experience, teething's always worse at night. So if you're going to be using an amber necklace, it's likely that the baby will be wearing it at night. And I agree that, to me, in my head, that is a huge strangulation risk. And most paediatricians and health authorities like the NHS do not recommend them. So take from that what you will. That did come up quite a few times. I think you can also get amber bracelets, but again, it's the strangulation thing or the choking thing that really worries me. But yeah, they were the teething remedies that came up. So teething gel, teething toys in the fridge, and the amber necklace, and cool fruits and veg if your baby is past weaning. But I hope if you're going through teething, it's getting easy for you, because we're really in the thick of it at the moment, and I'd forgotten how bad it can be for them. And all you want to do is take away the pain. Obviously, at 5 months, they can't talk. They can't tell you, oh, it's my back gum on the left that's really hurting me, which is really difficult when you're trying to soothe them. But lots of snuggles, lots of love. We're doing lots of contact napping, which I love. And I think that is just seeming to help. So, yeah, send in your hugs if you're going through it as well, because it is not for the faint-hearted. I have had a email tonight from a lovely listener called Hannah in Bristol, and she has said, "Hi Charlotte, since having my little boy 8 months ago, I feel like my friendship circle has just vanished. I used to be the one always up for a glass of wine after work or a spontaneous weekend trip. Now I'm the one cancelling plans because of nap times running over or I'm too shattered to leave the house." Get you. At first, everyone said, "We'll come to you," or "We can't wait to meet the baby," but the messages slowly stopped. My WhatsApp chats went from constant memes and gossip to radio silence, and it honestly breaks my heart. I love being a mum, truly, but it's a weird kind of grief to realise the version of yourself that fits so neatly into these friendships doesn't quite exist anymore. The irony is, I've never needed my friends more. But the late night replies or "let's catch up soon" texts make me feel like I've somehow became too different, too busy, or too boring. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for the night feed. Listening to you and the other mums at 3 a.m. makes me feel seen and a little less like I'm on the outside looking in. I'm learning to find new connections, slower, deeper ones, and maybe that's the silver lining. Love, Hannah in Bristol. Oh, Hannah, I feel you. I really do understand what you're going through. I've spoken about losing friendships on the podcast before, even losing certain family members. And it is one of those things that pre-becoming a parent, you don't think about. You don't think that is going to happen to you. I have lost a friend along the way, one really close friend that I never imagined would slip away. And it's really sad because before you become a parent, you don't quite realise it. So I could say from my side, I've probably been maybe guilty of it over the years when other friends have become parents, and you just kind of don't, relationships kind of expire. And I think as you become an adult, you're in very different seasons and very different life cycles. And I don't ever think it's personal. And I don't ever think it's because you're not fun anymore or you're a different person. When you become a parent, your priorities become your child. And that is black and white, isn't it? So yes, there are going to be times you can't make the girls out in, you can't go out. And it's a shame because I think as a person without children, you almost think, oh, they don't want to be with us anymore, they want to be with the family, and I get that. And maybe they're coming from a place of they've got different priorities now, and that's okay. But like you say, it's heartbreaking when the texts stop, the messages stop, you stop getting invited out because you do still want to go out, but you also don't want to go out. And it's a really tricky predicament. What you said at the end is that you're learning to find new connections. And I think that is so important. I've mourned friendships, but I've also realised that as humans and as parents, we go through different cycles. And my mum always says this quote to me, and I've shared it before: friends are there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. A reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it really, really stuck with me, that, because I think of different seasons in my life. For instance, university. And I had some amazing friends at university, and they were there for that season wholeheartedly. We had the best time. But I only speak to a handful of them now. And that's okay. I've not fell out with the other friends. I've not done anything to upset them. They've not done anything to upset me. We just move forward and we move on in our lives. And those friends were brilliant in that season. And now my mum, I've met new friends who are brilliant in this season. So I think the best thing you can do in this situation is not take it too personally. I don't think they've cut you out because they think you're boring or they think you're not fun anymore. I think it's a natural life cycle where your lives kind of go down different paths. And you'll know from when you were pre-kids, life looks very different. You can go for the spontaneous glass of wine. You can go for that trip at the weekend on a day's notice. You can't do that now. And it is different. And it's all about embracing the new now, embracing the fact that instead of going out for drinks, you are with your baby and you are in and you're contact napping this little thing that you've dreamt of for years. And your life will change again in a few years when the kids have flown the nest and you're back out drinking wine, maybe with them friends again, maybe with new friends. So I feel what you're going through. And I imagine a lot of mums listening to this will be nodding away, thinking about connections that they've lost and connections they've made. And it is a natural cycle of life. And I don't want you feeling heartbroken, even though you probably will a bit. It's all about getting out there and meeting those new mums who will become, trust me, like life-changing people in your life. There are mum friends that I could rely on at the drop of a hat now. And it's a different kind of village that you need as a mum. And if you still want to see those girls, why not have a wine night at your house? Why not just say, right, I've got the baby, he'll probably be on my knee, but bring a bottle and we'll have a catch up. And you girls all come round, I'll host, and maybe do it that way and have a catch up with them, and they can see you fully in mum mode and get that things are different for you now, but you still want to be connected to them and you still want to have that friendship. So you take that any road that you want to, but just know that you're not alone. It's really, really, really common. And I don't think it comes from a bad place from your side or your friend's side. I hope that helps. I came across yesterday a car cheat code. And if you've been listening to the past few episodes, you'll know that my baby boy doesn't like the car. He really doesn't like the car. And it's really sad because I used to love going out with my girls when they were babies, getting out and about. But I kind of am avoiding it a bit at the moment because I hate the sound of him screaming. And there's been times when I've been driving on the motorway and he has been screaming to the point where I'm panicking he's going to choke. And I just can't handle that. And I'm hoping as he gets a bit older and I can console him from the front and chat to him, that it gets better. And don't get me wrong, there are times where it's unavoidable. You have to go out in the car and you've got doctor's appointments when you've got things on, when you've got to take the girls out, when you're doing different things. But I'll admit it has stopped me a little bit. And I came across in a forum a car cheat code. And it just made me chuckle. It said, just discovered a new trick for getting little one who's 3 months old to calm down in the car and want to just share. Nothing gets through when she's melting down. She hates the happy song. I don't know what the happy song is, but hates all the kids' songs. Hates me singing her name like I do at home. I discovered the other day that listening to Tibetan bowls is apparently her kryptonite. Almost instantly asleep 3 times in a row now. I hope it holds. Now, I went on the comments then, and quite a few people had said the same. Tibetan bowls, which is like, I'm guessing, the kind of gong sound bath bowls. I'm going to have to look into it. I just wanted to share that with you because I'm going to try that in the car. I'm going to download the whole Tibetan bowls Spotify playlist, wherever it is. I'm going to find it and I'm going to download that. I'm going to see if it works for my son. Because he's comfortable in his car seat. There's nothing annoying him really. It's just the thought of the car, and for him, it sends him off. So yeah, I'm going to try that. And I'm going to hopefully get back to my nice little car journeys out because I do like them. I used to like it when the girls would fall asleep in the car and I'd go to McDonald's drive-thru and get myself a coffee. And I'd sit and I'd be nap-trapped and happily nap-trapped. And on that note, the nap-trapped in the car note, did you know there are cafes popping up? I think there's one in Bolton, which is in Greater Manchester, where you can go as a nap-trapped mum and they'll bring coffee and cake to your car. And I thought, what a brilliant idea. Because really, when you're nap-trapped in the car, there only is McDonald's, Costa, Starbucks, drive-thrus, I think, isn't there? Maybe there's a few others, but There's no way you can really go and have anything brought to your car. And if you're anything like my kids, as soon as you pull up to McDonald's or any of them, the voice on the speaker asking for your order wakes them up. So it's like, oh. Yeah, I love that concept. The Tibetan bowls for the car, get them asleep happily, and then get yourself to one of these new cafes where mums can get coffee and cake brought to your nap-trapped car. Then in the same forum, I found another post which I quite liked, and it says, what's your I'm with the boomers on this one opinion? Love a good boomer opinion on this podcast. I think they spark some anger and rage in a lot of us. Some of them, though, can be justified, like in this thread. So the poster says, I'll go first. I think babies do need socks, at least when they're sleeping and when they're outside of the house. I concur. I am a boomer on the sock one. I was out yesterday in a shop and there was a baby similar age to mine in a sling with no socks on. And it's November in the UK. And I'm sorry, I'm not shaming anybody, but no socks on a baby goes through me. No socks on me goes through me. I have a real sock thing. Like when the girls come down of a morning and they've not got socks, I'm like, get your socks on. But yeah, if I see a baby out and about with no socks, especially in November in the UK, it does trigger something in me. It triggers the boomer in me. But some of the replies were quite funny. I thought I'd share them with you. Or not necessarily funny, just generally actual common sense. So the first one says their views on technology. Kids don't need smartphones and to be on TikTok at age 10. They need to play, be outside and make friends, so they learn social skills. But I will say most of the elders are addicted to their phones, lol. So the boomers are actually addicted to the phones as well now. I concur with this one. It is a problem that I talk about a lot on the podcast, is kids and tech. Next one is babies need colour. Don't let your baby be a sad beige baby. Buy them colourful things, damn it. We are, I think, as millennial parents, we can be a bit guilty of buying aesthetically pleasing toys, can't we? Like Aldi's wooden toy event, they all look beautiful. But I agree with this one. My late uncle, he passed away in January, and he absolutely loved buying my girls' toys. And he got into, what is it called? Is it Happy Land? Where they have all the little, I'm looking at one now, it's like a windmill house, and another one over there is like a little castle. And you can make a village with a train track. And he got them so many. Honestly, it was the sweetest thing. Like, I'd go to his to visit him and my nan, and there'd be a new collection of these each time we went, because he got into buying them on eBay and he'd find them and it was just magical for them. It was such a wonderful memory of him. And they are so colourful, they are so bright, and they're not Montessori or wooden or anything like that. They're just plastic, fun, bright toys that kids love. And I just love that. And every time I look at them, it just makes me smile because it makes me think of him. And I agree. I think all this Instagram aesthetically pleasingness is not what kids are into, is it? So get the bright toys, get the Fisher Price bright red baby walker that doesn't quite fit with the theme of the living room, because they're not going to be here for that long, these toys. I'm having these realizations at the moment that in 5 or 6 years these baby toys aren't necessarily going to be in my living room, so enjoy them while they're there, I say. Next one is not everything has to be educational. Kids can play with toys that are just for fun, and they don't have to be Montessori or education focused. Again, yeah, agree with that. I think playing with toys is kids' education, isn't it? Playing with toys and role playing is how they learn. I was speaking to my daughter's teacher about this, and she said role play in any sense is how they build the vocabulary. So playing with the kitchen, playing with the doctor's surgery, playing with a pretend house, it's all to be encouraged. And I think we can, knowing how much we know because of the internet now, want to teach them so much so early, and we'll get on with phonics and we'll learn to read. And it's like, well, actually, letting them play is their education. And I love that. Next one says, crying does not equal trauma. It's not my job to make sure my baby never ever cries. I'm an attentive parent who takes very good care of my baby. Sometimes in life we have to be a little patient, get in the car seat, change our clothes, get our noses wiped, give back the toy, etc. There's a difference between true neglect that causes psychological damage and putting baby down for 30 seconds to go pee. Absolutely agree with this one. I think we're guilted a lot. And I think a lot of it comes from social media that isn't necessarily factual, where it's like, I'll never let my baby cry, I'll never put my baby down. When actually, we all need to go to the toilet. We all need to have a 5-minute clean in the house. And again, like this person says, it doesn't equal psychological trauma. 30 seconds of crying. It teaches them that in 30 seconds or a minute, mummy will be back and hugging you and holding you. And I know people will start to link this with the cry out theory and all that kind of thing. And I get that. We all have our own opinions on the cry out method. And you have to go with your gut as a mum with what you think. But putting your baby down is okay, even if they cry for a minute or two, as long as you're there and you comfort them and you look after them after you pick them up. It's okay. You need to look after yourself as well. And watching all these reels about how I never let my baby cry and I never put my baby down, it's making us so insecure as mums. It's making us think we have to carry them around in the sling all day, otherwise they'll cry and they'll get upset. And we have to learn that there's going to be times when mummy needs to go to the toilet or I need to make myself a cup of tea. So don't be feeling bad on that. I keep seeing reels about it at the moment, and it is upsetting me a little bit that it's making us feel like we can never put them down. Oh, I've got a Velcro baby. I can never put the baby down. It's like, well, yes, have the contact naps, snuggle them as much as you want. But if you need to go and make yourself a coffee or go to the toilet, that is okay. As long as baby is in a safe environment, they're not going to fall off anything, they're not going to choke. It's okay. It's okay. Next one is kids need to learn how to be bored and learn to entertain themselves. Not everything has to be scheduled or pre-planned. I completely agree. I spoke about this a few weeks ago on the podcast. There's a psychologist that talks about this and says that kids need to do adult activities and learn to be bored, because we are turning into a generation that makes everything kid focused and makes every weekend about their play, their soft play, going to this play cafe, or we'll go into this party, or everything becomes about the kids. When in actual fact, they need to also learn that they have to go to IKEA sometimes, heaven forbid, or, go and do the grocery shop. And my kids love getting involved. And I've talked about this before. You just have to slow down. You have to take 10 minutes doing the washing instead of 2 minutes. And you have to give them a spoon when you stir in the cake mix and let them stir it on their terms and be a bit slower. And it teaches us to slow down as well. So I completely agree with the board thing. We can't just be shoving phones and tablets in front of them to keep them entertained, because that's not teaching them life, is it? And in sometimes in life there's going to be boring parts, and you're going to have to sit in school and listen to a lesson that you are completely, utterly unengaged from. I remember it. I remember being in certain lessons that would bore me to tears. But it teaches you that not all life is this fun, amazing, wonderful, lively experience. So I completely agree with that one. This one says they don't need so many toys. And the comment underneath says, I agree about not needing so many toys, but in my life it's the boomers who just won't stop buying them for our children. Lol. Same. And it's so sweet. But anytime I go and visit a family member or someone, they'll have things for the girls, and it is lovely. It is so lovely, and they just want to give them things. But I totally get this, is that I think nowadays toys are so readily available wherever you go, even in Aldi. Even when you go into your grocery shop, there'll be a toy on offer for like £2. And people, it's lovely that they've got my children in their minds when they're doing the food shop. But yeah, the toys come in droves, don't they? They come in droves. And then I have this attachment thing to them, like, she bought that when she was out and she was thinking about the girls, we'll have to keep it. And like the toys from my late uncle that I spoke about earlier, they just remind me of him so much that parting with them would just be so tough. And it's how we build all these connections, isn't it? And the guilt and things. But yeah, the too many toys thing, it's a tricky one that I think a lot of our generation are navigating, because back when I was younger, toys was, I think, so much more expensive. And my mum used to take us to a place called the Toy Library, where you would it's like books, basically. You go and you'd hire you not hire, but you'd borrow a toy. And I used to love that. We borrowed a kitchen one time, and I think that was a really, really good idea that maybe needs to come back now, because we are so consumerist, and the toys that we can get for our kids nowadays are amazing. And it's very easy to just fill up the house with everything because, well, it's all there and readily available. But I think if there was a system where we could borrow them for a month and share them round, I think that would be really, really good. And I think a lot of people would buy into that, because the kids do get bored, don't they? When you buy it them, it's like the best thing ever. And 3 weeks later, it's sat on a shelf collecting dust. So there's definitely something in a toy library if anyone wants a business idea. And then someone else has put germs building immune system. Go ahead and chew on that TV remote, Queen. Wow. Okay, so yeah, the boomers do have a point sometimes. I agree on the sock front. I agree on the tablet front. They do have a point, and I think we all agree with that, don't we? The advice that older people give sometimes is unsolicited and sometimes is like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. We don't do that feeding at 2 months old anymore, Karen. But yeah, other advice is like, it's going to stand the test of time, isn't it? So yeah, I just quite enjoyed that one. Next tonight is what's trending. I'll tell you what's trending. And if you've got a newborn, you probably haven't even thought about this yet. But if you've got toddlers as well, like me, it will be on your mind. And that is Elf on the Shelf. I'm going to say it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And it's not because I'm a killjoy. I am not a killjoy. I love joy. Believe me. I did Elf on the Shelf last year. Trigger warning, if you've got toddlers or young children in the room, turn off now because I don't want to spoil any fun. But Elf on the Shelf came to visit last year, and I think it took a bit of the magic away, because my 4-year-old, well, she was 3 at the time, about to be 4, she worked it out. She was not like, it was like, oh, what, so he brings the chocolate? I'm like, yeah, he brings it. And, you've obviously been really good because he's brought you a chocolate penny today. Whilst he's stood in a load of flour that mummy clearly got out of the cupboard, And I do think kids, I remember feeling the magic of Christmas. I still remember that feeling of looking up into the sky, praying to see his sleigh. How wonderful and joyous that feels. And that is an emotion that has stuck with me for life, because my parents were so about Christmas joy and magic. And that's why I love Christmas. And I don't want to be here saying, oh, don't do Elf on the Shelf, because I think it makes them more suspect. Because she was asking questions like, where does he come from? And how does he get in the house? And how did he get the flour out of the cupboard? She's only 3. And I think if you give them too much to question, they're going to question the whole concept. Father Christmas delivering to every household in the world is a concept that you're going to question, isn't it? But we go with it. It's magic. We haven't got a chimney breast. We haven't got an open fire. Where's he? There's a lot of questions. And I think if we give them more bait to ask questions, I don't know, could it take the magic away a bit? So I think it's controversial, Elf on the Shelf. I know everyone moans about it because they forget to do it. And it's funny because I saw on TikTok, they're now selling Elf on the Shelf packs for like December. So every day you've got an idea of what to do. And it's just being more and more commercialised. When I think Father Christmas coming on Christmas Eve is the magic. We don't need all these other props. And if you're anything like me, I can be a little bit forgetful. So I was running down, trying to get down before the kids, hanging him off the drinks fridge, being like, oh, look, there's the elf on the fridge, strapped on by the Velcro on his hands, that, carrying the chocolate coins that fell on the floor. And I think I'm very good at make-believe. I'll give myself credit there. Make up stories, imagination, love it. I can make it up on the spot, and they love my stories, and I can tell you where that elf come from on the spot. I'll tell you that he has some magic dust he sprays on himself and comes through the keyhole, and I'll make it all up, and it'll be wonderful. But I did leave him on the floor by accident one day, and he was found by my eldest, who questioned why he's not awake now, why is he a toy now, and why is he here in the day when he only comes at night? And so, yeah, I think it leaves us wide open as parents for questions, and we don't need any more questions. I think our generation of children are going to be way more aware than we ever were. They've got access to YouTube, the internet. It's all there for them. And unfortunately, there is always going to be that kid in the class who's got older siblings who spoils the magic a bit. And I don't think we need anything extra. So if you are at home fretting about buying Elf on the Shelf, it's a lovely problem to have, by the way. I'm here to tell you that you don't have to worry if you don't want. Don't succumb to the peer pressure. And then they'll say, oh, but Elf on the Shelf comes to Robert's house. Why doesn't he come to my house? Have I been bad? No. It's just given us more things that we have to solve and work around. So I'm a proponent for saying goodbye to Elf on the Shelf. I think it was a fad. I think it was a craze that everyone went mad for. And I guess some of you might be listening to this being like, absolutely not. It's tradition in our house now and we love it. Then great. I am at the point where I am very early into the Christmas journey for the kids, and I don't want anything spoiling it. And I think Elf on the Shelf could be a spoiler alert. So putting it out there for you. My self-care tip tonight is to lower the bar. Lower that bar, mother. Lower it. I think we all have this high bar, and self-care doesn't always have to mean spa days or long baths. Sometimes it's just deciding that good enough is perfect for today. Let the laundry sit, eat toast for your lunch, scroll less, and just breathe more. Just breathe. Stop trying to be this ideal mum and compare yourself, because I think the bar is very high now for our generation. It's funny because I sent my friend a reel yesterday, and it was basically saying kids, parents in the 80s, and it was just someone in a hoodie like, kids are fed, got a roof over the head, life's good. And then the next bit was like, parents nowadays, and it was just all these little pop-up speech bubbles like, has he got anxiety? Have I fed him enough? Is his grapes cut up enough in his lunchbox? Is there this? Is there that? Have I got this for tea? Are we going to have picnic tea? Are we going to go out for tea? Are we going to stay in for tea? Has he got ADHD? Has he had too much screen time today? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The mental load we carry with us now is next level, isn't it? And think back to those kids in the 80s that we were, well, I was 89, just the 80s I was born. But think back to those times when they were a bit more simple and we just had terrestrial TV and our parents fed us and let us play out and we had a great time. And our parents weren't like, oh, she's climbing that tree a bit fast. Has she got this? Is it anxiety that's doing that to her? Has she got ADHD? Maybe she's got ADHD. She did watch 2 hours of screen time yesterday. Oh my God. And I think we all have this crazy high bar nowadays as mums that we have to achieve certain things with our kids and we have to do certain things. And it's like, let them be. The kids are fine. Feed them, bathe them, make sure they're safe and warm. Everything's good. Everything's good. Give yourself a mental break. Lower that bar. Lower the bar. Yes, they can have pasta the second night on the run or whatever. Just, we don't have to meal prep 14 days in advance and make it all frozen and then get it out one day. We don't have to make breakfast the night before. We don't have to just feed our kids completely clean for the whole week. Lower the bar a bit. You're doing great. We're all doing great. And we're being told a lot of the time that we're not because of these crazy high standards nowadays. I think as long as you're happy, the kids are happy. I think mum being happy and dad being happy really helps. So if you're putting all this unnecessary pressure on yourself and it's making you stressed, it's making you angry, you got to lower that bar. I know myself, sometimes I can chill when there's toys everywhere and there's stuff, and I'm like, don't worry. Some days I get up about it and I take it out on the girls, and I'm like, oh, mummy's just a bit annoyed because I've got all this cleaning to do. And so what? So what? I think if you've got kids under 5, well, under 10, if you've got kids, your house is going to be a bit nuts. Don't worry. Lower the bar. Lower the bar. Remember, the clean kitchen on Instagram isn't as clean behind the photographer. All the stuff and the crap gets put behind them while they take that perfect picture. Just remember, everyone's got a room with stuff in it. Everyone's got a drawer that's overflowing. Give yourself a break. And your self-care is just lowering that bar. Finally, to finish on a quote I wrote, "It's 3 a.m, Mama. You've had 30 minutes of sleep and I'm calling for you again. It's not just the feed, but the hour that will follow, of patting, winding, rocking, and comforting me. You try everything in your power to keep your eyes open whilst rocking me to close mine. Your back aches, your eyes are weary, every bone in your body wants to sleep. Tears roll down your face. Just remember in this moment, when I look up at you, I don't see the dark circles under your eyes, the milk-stained pyjamas, unwashed hair, or tears on your cheeks. I see unconditional love. You'll never know just how much comfort you're bringing to me in my little world right now. Your scent, your touch, the sound of your weary voice humming our favourite lullaby send me back to sleep. These times will soon pass, and our evenings spent together while the rest of the world sleeps will be distant memories of the time we spent bonding. Dry those tears, Mama. You're not alone. We've got this." Thanks for listening tonight, as always. Keep those emails coming in. Anything you see online that you want to share, anything that's happened to you that you want to share, tips, tricks, hacks, keep them coming in to the nightfeedpodcast@gmail.com. And remember to share with any other mum. I'd love that. I hope you all have a restful, peaceful night ahead. Good night.